So I'm going to be doing a voiceover over this makeup I'm doing here. I am measuring the foam latex prosthetic and I'm going to be gluing it down with Pros Aid. This Pros Aid, I got it from Amazon. I think it was like $21. You can use it with a Q-tip to put a thin layer on your model's face. This time I'm using my sister's face, which is not the best one to use, but oh well, quarantine has got me doing it like this. Anyways, so yeah, you put a thin layer first. Before anything, I did measure it. This prosthetic is not made for her face. I got it in a mystery box that I bought when I went on a trip to a Halloween convention, and it's been so hard to fit it on anybody. So my sister was the closest person to, you know, this prosthetic fitting her face. So I'm trying to make it work as best as I can. This honestly makes me feel like this prosthetic was made for a child. But anyways, this is kind of like a cross between a creature from Hellraiser and a nemesis from Resident Evil. So I'm trying to make it work for her face. So yeah, first thing I did was glue down the nose, because with the nose you can just frame it on the face and then you can start gluing it down to the different areas of the face from the inside out. Okay, so I've glued it down. As you can notice, I didn't glue the top part because I didn't want to glue it down because it's just for this makeup. I might use it since it's already pre-painted if I find a smaller frame. Now here I'm using translucent powder. You can use any kind of powder you like, as long as it's kind of like a whitish translucent powder. It's just to eliminate the stickiness of the Prozade, which is the medical adhesive that we're using for this video to glue down the prosthetic. As you can see, I'm just putting it in, laying it down on her face and around the edges. I did, like I said, I didn't glue the top part of the prosthetic because I didn't want to go through her hair, because she's going to be wearing a cloak, like a hoodie, so you won't be able to see that part. But we're still painting it so I can keep it as a pre-painted piece. So yeah, I'm going to do it here very carefully without putting it in her mouth. Since it's my sister, I'm using my fingers. But if it's, you know, some like a customer, there's, you know, you can use a brush for it. But for my sister, I mean, she don't mind I put my finger near her mouth. I mean, she signed up for it where she lets me do her face whenever I do her makeups. So yeah, we're gonna set that out. And now using my Pache airbrush gun, you can use any kind of airbrush gun you like. I'm going to start filling in the cracks and the ridges and everything that this prosthetic has, and also going in between the teeth like I'm pointing out there. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to go with a thin layer because then we're going to go over it with the different colors, and we're going to be layering different colors to give it a really nice organic look. So let's go ahead and fill those in. Now, I forgot to mention that the paints I'm using for this video are alcohol airbrush makeups, liquid makeups. They're alcohol based, and I'm using two different ones: Pro Air, actually three: Pro Air, European Body Art, and a brand, the same brand as my airbrush gun, Pache Tattoo Inks, which all of them can be used on the skin. They're skin safe, but I'm using them also for the foam latex prosthetic. Now here I'm doing a light a layer of this one is actually Pro Air brand. The brown was European Body Art. This one is Pro Air, and I'm just doing a light skin layer of that paint, trying to give it a little bit more of a how do I say, more like a humanoid kind of aesthetic. So here I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to paint that, and then we're going to jump into going over again those cracks and those crevices of the prosthetic with a little bit of more of a washed down color. Now, the good thing about alcohol based makeup is that you can water it and make it a little bit more liquidy. You can thin it out with alcohol, and as you can see, I'm dabbing it. I put a lot of paint there, and then I just dab it with a paper towel, and that gives it like a little bit of that texture that the foam latex has, kind of like pores, if you want to say it like that. So it gives it that little bit of a different texture, not just a flat surface. So I'm going to go ahead and do that all over the prosthetic, and then we'll go to the next step. Now, once I'm done doing that, I'm going to start adding some color to her neck to make the look more cohesive, meaning matching the neck with the face prosthetic. Now, I'm not doing it in like a special line. I'm adding like, it looks kind of like bruising. I do that with the airbrush because that way I start giving it some textures, and then I jump back into the face. Now I'm using kind of like a maroon, dark reddish color to fill in the mouth area, and that's the same color I used for the neck. And I'm going to be using it for different details on the face. As you can see, I'm still on some spots I'm still dabbing it in, and that will help the prosthetic match a little bit more with the neck. We're just doing face and a little bit of the neck because the outfit that she's going to be wearing will cover most of the neck, and the hoodie will cover the forehead, which I didn't glue it down because she was complaining, she didn't want to have the glue on her hairs, but whatever. That's what you get when you do makeup on your sister. She gets very demanding. Anyway, so yep, we went ahead and did that there. We added that, and we're gonna go ahead and start going over the mouth with that red paint I mentioned. That one is a European Body Art. European Body Art, you can go directly to their website or you can buy it online. Any retail store that sells airbrush makeup or airbrush, they usually carry it. So here I'm doing it to fill in those gaps in the mouth area, and this one is like a dark red. Since I had already darkened in the sunken parts of the teeth of the prosthetic, just laying down this reddish color, it will let it, show through that thin layer of the red. Now, with the going back with that really dark brown, we're going to go ahead and go over those gaps again in the crevices of the prosthetic, just to bring, and make it a little bit more deeper so you can see those details a little bit more, since we did go over it with a little bit of a that skin tone or flesh tone makeup, and then we did the details like the weathering, is that you want to call it. So we're going to go ahead and do that so we can fill in those gaps again and make them pop. And then we're going to go ahead and add some extra details to the prosthetic. I'm trying to paint the inside of the mouth without getting it in her, literally in her mouth. But if it falls in your mouth, you get a little bit of that alcohol-based paint in her mouth, it's not going to, you know, hurt your customer. It's just going to taste really bad, which is completely fine. I mean, usually we do this with a brush, but I just wanted to do it with the airbrush because it's my sister, so you know she can take it. But anyways, here I'm just filling in those gaps. You see the gaps on the cheeks and all that. We're filling those in, and that's gonna make it pop again. Now with the Pache brand tattoo ink black, it's airbrush alcohol-based makeup I got directly from Pache. I'm gonna go ahead and make the eye area darker. She is not wearing any theatrical contacts or anything like that because this prosthetic, she can barely open her eyes. So I went in there very lightly. Maybe in the future, if I ever use this prosthetic again, which I did keep it, I was able to salvage the prosthetic because I glued it down enough to do this makeup and enough to me to be able to save it and maybe use it on myself. Even though it's a smaller prosthetic, I might be able to glue it down on my face even though I have a big fat face. But anyways, see, I try to make it as dark as possible, but I didn't want to put that much in makeup or black makeup in her eye. But you can see a little bit of the close-up detail that's going on in this prosthetic. I think it looks really good, even though the quality of the prosthetic, I've had this foam latex prosthetics for over a year, and I'm actually surprised it still looks pretty good. I'm sorry for the focus. It's my husband's that's using the camera. Now, he's a cameraman. Now I'm going over with some water-based Snazaroo, the cheapest I could find. I didn't use my other ones from Wolf because I didn't have it in red. Here I'm using the Snazaroo water-based face paints to paint that detail that the foam latex prosthetic has, which is kind of like veins popping out of the prosthetic, and it goes directly to the mouth and all the mouth area. So you're going to be able to see it there. I'm just going to do that, and then we're going to go with the next step. Now, once I'm done with doing the lines, I'm going to go ahead and add some gooey effects to the prosthetic in the mouth area. I'm going to be using some glycerin. You can find it at any drugstore, Walmart, or whatever. This is not toxic or anything like that. I actually use it for doing my gelatin special effects or stuff like that. So you can just find it at any Walmart at the pharmacy area or any drugstore. I'm just adding a little bit of that glycerine to the mouth area just to make it look gooey. It won't remove the alcohol-based paint, not even the water-based one. So, you know, you have to, of course, you have to be careful with any kind of makeup you're doing to not rub off the actual detail, because otherwise you're just wasting your time. So here I'm just adding a little bit of that wetness on the mouth area to make it look gooey and wet. And she's definitely not liking it. At least it did not fall in her mouth. So here it is. Now it's looking a little bit more wet. So yeah, as you can notice on her lips, The prosthetic is a little bit small, so it's like pulling her lip up, but she's fine. Now we're gonna go ahead and add some more details as far as the face, the neck, and finish those areas to make it look a little bit more cohesive with the prosthetic. Okay, once we do that on the neck, we're going to go ahead and use again those water-based makeup to do those same kind of veiny lines on the neck. I'm just doing like a couple of them because what she's wearing, her neck piece, the actual outfit is going to cover it. As you can see, we just pulled it down a little bit just for the doing this, so we added those lines there to make it more cohesive, and then voila, it's almost done. We're gonna go ahead and add the extra details and darkening those veins so they look as the same as on the prosthetic. Okay, so this is the final look. Creepy, maybe, who knows? She wants to get out of it so fast. So thank you so much for watching, and if you like it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I present to you the monster. I don't know, it looks like a Nemesis mixed with something that came from Hellraiser, so I don't know, I'm not sure, but this is my creation. Hope you guys like it. Leave a thumbs up.